What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about World Liberty Financial, WLFI, yet again this week. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. It is the 16th day of April, and here we are sitting at about 8.15 cents with roughly 10 hours and 12 minutes left in the day. Again, hit that like button. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into it. We have a little bit of news at WLFI, but before we get into it, I just want to give you the premise that I've been giving since we were literally at the lowest prices that WLFI has ever seen. Okay, the premise that I have in mind here is that the whole market's bearish. Everybody in crypto seems to know that WLFI is a scam, that it's going to go to zero, that it's going to drop through the floor. Who would touch this with a 10-foot pole while it's at all-time lows? Isn't it funny? Just think about this. Think about this, okay? Think about exactly what I just said there. Let's go to another chart, okay? We're going to do the same thing that I just did there with WLFI, but for Bitcoin, okay? And I fell prey to this. This was absolutely me, what I'm about to say here. We're at new all-time highs that we've never seen before. Everybody in the market seems to know that we're going to be pumping to 150K, 180K, $1 million by the end of the bull cycle, super cycle. It's undeniable. And everybody's a genius at these highs. I'm one of those guilty geniuses. That's exactly what I thought. And of course, there are some people who think opposite, but just like now, there are some people who think opposite with WLFI. Do you understand what I'm saying here? The whole crypto space knew it. They knew it, that Bitcoin was going to go higher, that this was a breakout, that we're going higher. Everybody was so confident. There was no question. They all know it now. They know it right now that WLFI is going to go lower. It's at all-time lows. It's the same thing. It's the same coin, just the opposite end of the coin. That's all it is. It's the same thing. In a moment like this, where you have a bunch of negative news, a bunch of FUD, as we call it in the space, and now all the geniuses are coming out telling you how bad WLFI is now, it's really ironic because those same people were saying up here how this time it's different. This is actually a good investment. The Trump family name is tied to this. They're not going to let it go to zero, whatever. And I told you from the highest prices, from 32 cents, here we are all the way down at 7.8 cents. I told you from up here that this thing was going to drop, that I wouldn't touch this thing with a 10-foot pole. It's got to see like a 90% drop or more before we touch it. And to be fair, it hasn't even seen that yet. Likely, as time goes on, likely we will see more dropping. Likely WLFI will see more dropping. It probably will even go below 5 cents. But in this moment right now, and again, likely Bitcoin will see new all-time highs. Likely it will go above that high. But in this moment in time, we reversed course because of the sentiment and because people were max long at the top. Everybody was invested. All of the investors for WLFI who've wanted to sell, they've sold by now. All the people who want to go short, they've been shorting over the past week. Why? Because this news has come out, and more news has come out that paints WLFI as if it's some type of scam, and I don't think it is, guys. Now, again, this is coming from the guy that literally said, I'm not touching this thing at all. Nobody should put their money in this. This is a bad investment from the get-go. But right now, I like to be contrarian. Not just right now, but like throughout my whole time investing, I'm a contrarian at heart. And this is a perfect moment to be that because I believe being here at all-time lows, all this negative news has come out. The new thing here with WLFI's governance proposal that's going on. This is the latest FUD that's going on. And it's real, but it's the perception of it is wrong. I think it's backwards, and I'm going to cover that in a second. And I think there's a nice play to make off of this. How much? I don't know. Maybe we pump only 20%. Well, that's a nice little gain. You could buy here, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but gain 20%. Whenever I was bullish at the absolute low, that was more of a 30% pump. Still, good opportunity here. What if we go all the way up to these areas of support, these areas of resistance? That's a 40 to 50% pump. There's short-term gains to be made here. And I really wouldn't be surprised if we got above these points of resistance. Now, how high do we go? Again, that's a good question. I don't know. I doubt that we're going to see new all-time highs from here. I doubt that this is the low of WLFI's bear market. I highly doubt that we're just going to, sing Kumbaya all the way up to the Rainbow City from this here. We're probably going to go higher and then go lower. Eventually, yes, we will take out this low. Is this a good place to buy for the long term? If you want a DCA, that's not my decision. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I'm not doing that. I would only buy for the long term at lower prices personally. I do think that we'll see a 382 retracement, which would at least put us around 11 cents, if not a golden ratio retracement, which would put us at 13.4 to 14.3 cents. We're at 8 cents now. Okay, so there's some short-term gains to be made there. Easy peasy in a bear market if you just buy low and sell high, right? It's as easy as that. I want to get into the TA more, But first, beforehand, I'd like to talk about my theory here. Okay, WLFI theory. I made a post yesterday. Some people saw it. Okay, I'm actually surprised. Not a lot of people gave it likes or love, though. I don't know. I haven't read the comments yet, but just a couple comments. It's a lot to read through. I know people don't want to read. They just want to read. You know, the most liked post that I ever had in my X Pages history was this one. Time to short this Ponzi. 26,000 views, 243 likes. I've never had anything that's been even close to this before. Like maybe half this at best. But it was short, simple. I know people like that. But we're going to go over the long-term stuff here. Okay, ready? Here we go. WLFI, where are you? So WLFI theory. Contrary to everyone else, I think this is bullish. This is bullish. If you aren't aware of what I'm referring to, I'm talking about the new governance proposal. Read that, and then this will all make sense. The advisors / team behind the project are the only ones whose tokens are being burned. Roughly 4.5 billion tokens. Okay, 4.5 billion. WLFI, you guys. I had it pulled up here, but I actually changed it for another one. It has 100 billion tokens in total. 30-something billion, I think 35 billion are released right now. Let's see. 100 billion total max supply. 31.7 are released right now. About 4.5% of the max possible supply ever will get burned. That's not nothing. That's pretty impressive. And whose tokens are getting burned? It's the teams. It's the teams. 10% of the total supply of the people who made this thing. The teams, the advisors, 10% of what they hold because of this proposal will get burned. When in crypto have you ever seen this? I'm just going to keep reading. When does this ever happen? Sounds like they're boning themselves for the betterment of the tokenomics / ecosystem. Name a project other than Shiba Inu, where the majority holder literally burned their own tokens instead of dumping on their investors, on their investor base. And by the way, Shiba pumped tremendously, and there were a lot more tokens that were burned. I'm not trying to compare it to Shiba, but it's the only one that came to my mind whenever it came to the majority token holder burning their tokens willingly because they just didn't care, or maybe to better the project, whatever. In Vitalik's case with Shiba, whenever he burned his tokens, it was because he didn't care. He didn't want anything to do with it. This seems a little more strategic, and at the end of the day, that burn really did help the price action. But again, that was a much larger burn. Anyways, name a project other than Shiba. Let's see. It doesn't happen. I've been in crypto since 2015. This is unique. It is, and genuinely to the benefit of the investor more than the advisor base. It's unique. The early investors keep their tokens locked for 2 years. This is the early investors, not the team, not the advisors, though I'm sure some of the team and the advisors are a part of this too. In 2 years, we will likely be at the peak of the next bull market. And maybe not in 2 years. Maybe it'll be 3 years. Maybe it'll be 3 years. But still, we'll be in the midst of the next bull market. I think my timing was off about this. It might be 3 years from now. People can bitch about it all they want now, but you'll be saying thank you yes, you will be saying thank you when WLFI token is at a higher price than when it ICO'd. ICO, for those of you that don't know, that's this price, the initial token ICO, initial coin offering. That's what it stands for. People are their own worst enemies. They panic sell at the worst moments. This 2-year cliff will literally protect early investors from themselves. The advisors and the team don't need protecting. They know what's going on. They're about it. They're in it for the long term. This, if anything, it says good things about them. I get that it's BS that your tokens are locked longer than you thought they'd be, but again, I bet most people bitching about this will walk away with gains when the unlocks begin. Absolutely. And then think about the fact that the total over 60 billion tokens will be locked out of 100 billion tokens. Okay, unable to sell or dump the price for the next 2 years, and that the predominant holdings of these locked tokens come from the top wallets. Again, putting the advisors and early adopters and team at a disadvantage over their investor base. Who does that? People who believe in what they're building. That's who does that. People who believe in what they're building. They don't lock their tokens for 2 years if it's a Ponzi scheme. If you think, or scammers do that, then you don't know scammers well enough. A scammer wouldn't give you an explanation. They just cut and run and never explain themselves or never heard from again. WLFI is literally more fundamentally sound than it was at launch, and it's at a massive discount compared to then too. But everybody at launch wanted a piece of WLFI. Everybody, the Tate brothers, your favorite crypto influencers, they were all talking about how this one's different, right? But now that it's fundamentally better, literally fundamentally better, and it's at a much more massive discount, now the geniuses think it's a bad investment. I thoroughly believe we will see the token price drop more. Likely it has not hit the bear market lows. I've already told you that. But this is something to consider when picking potential winners. It will be a winner to DCA into at the end of the bear market later this year, 2026, and the beginning of the bull market in 2027. Keep this one in mind for the future. None of this is financial advice. Maybe I'm wrong. Please tell me where my logic is flawed in the comments. Blah, blah, blah. That's the thought. That's the theory. And amidst this negative push of FUD, I do think we'll see a little bit of excitement. People will start to come around, and I bet a lot of people are going to say the same things that I'm saying now, but at the top, at the relative high, wherever that is. There's some people who agree with me. I've seen some people who think like I do, and maybe we're all wrong. Maybe we're the dummies. But again, I wasn't wrong up here whenever I was saying stay away from this thing. Stay away. I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole. I could be wrong here. Being right once doesn't mean I have to be right again. I've been wrong before. I will be wrong again, but I digress at this point. Getting into the short-term stuff, getting into the 1 hour time frame. We look at this here. The 1 hour, I mean, it's not going to help us. We're just choppy and sideways. That's not going to really help us at all. So let's actually skip past that. The 4 hour time frame. RSI broke out of the downtrend. Stochastics look like they're pointed up. The MACD is taking on a bullish shape, but I don't know if we're ready quite yet to break out. I wouldn't be surprised, looking at WLFI, I wouldn't be surprised if we did return back to these lows, scare people a little bit. Maybe we do see lower lows and we get a quick little shakeout, but then likely we come back up. However it's going to look. I'm not holding true to this being the low. We could go lower. It could happen. I'm not going to be upset if we do. But something from this zone, something from this area is going to prevail and likely take us back above 11 cents if I had to guess. And it might be in a week. It might be in a month. It might be in a month and a half. But sometime soon, I'm thinking we're going to see a pump. And this is the type of thing that you can just DCA into for the long term. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm horribly wrong and it just goes down. You can still DCA in the long term and it will likely come back. And I do believe that we will see new all-time highs with this thing. I think this has the potential to be a multi-$100 billion market cap of a project. But first, I think we need to see the market cap dip below $1 billion or at least get around there. Whatever that means. That's just my expectation. Daily time frame. Daily time frame here. RSI is oversold. The first time it was oversold, we were at a low point here. The pump that we saw from a low to a high, this is on October 10th. I don't know how reliable that'll be, but that's a 76% pump. From the low here without that wick, that was a 28% pump, basically a 30% pump. Whenever we had our low here in the RSI, from a low to a high, we saw overall about a 52% pump. We actually went higher than that. Whenever we were oversold here from a low, and look at how long we consolidated to a high, 36%. Again, we've just started consolidating for like less than a week now. We could consolidate longer. It could be longer. All I'm trying to say is there's at least a 30% pump in here somewhere, if not more. The minimum expectation that I have is that we go to about 11 cents. Probably right at 11 cents, if not higher. I guess the minimum expectation is a 30% pump, which technically is just below 11 cents. But if we get there, I mean, really it should be raced like a 37% pump or more, I think. But I digress. I got nothing else to say, really, guys. Stochastics look like they want to come up. The MACD is shaping up, looking like it wants to cross through the zero. When we crossed through the zero here, we had a pump. We crossed through the zero here. That was after we found our low. We had a pump. We're about to cross through the zero here. It might not be today. It might not even be next week. But by the end of this month, it could be tomorrow. Who knows? Anytime soon, we're going to see some upside come into play. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.